everyone and welcome back to my class. As you know that I am Ali Munisa, Junior Lecturer of Allahabad Institute. Today in this class we will go with the Social Studies, that is 10th grade and chapter 3rd, and its name is Production and Employment. The word production means manufacturing, making, producing a construction, anything, okay, especially the raw materials to the final goods. And then come to the term employment. It means person earn living, work, business, and what are the activities to earn for the livelihood, that only call as employment. So through these terms and through this theme and through this chapter, we will come to know and we will try to understand what is the meaning of production and employment and how it plays the important role in development of individual as well as the nation also. So these two terms, especially the production and employment, is totally based on GDP. So all these terms and this production and employment of nation is based on GDP, that is gross domestic product. Here we come to a cross such that what is GDP that is being talked about, what relation does it have with the sector of the Indian economy? We will see and we will try to understand these terms, how it is playing the important role to the sectors of the Indian economy. Okay, first, sectors of economy. Recall your memory that some of the chapters that we have studied and discussed in previous classes, where we discussed how people engaged in different activities to earn their livelihoods. These activities are broadly categorized as agriculture, that related to the activities such as fishing, foresting, mining, where the nature has dominated role in the production of process. Exactly. Then manufacturing process and other industries where the goods are produced by people using tools or machines. The activities that do not result in a good but provide a service that are required in production and other services for people. Okay, that the list of the occupation under the agriculture, industry and the service sectors are the reason for their specially classification, and such occupations are tailor, basket weaver, flower cultivator, milk vendor, fisherman, priest, courier, work in match factories, etc. are there. Okay, so that these sectors of employment and production, after that we will go with the gross domestic product. Okay, suppose, just imagine there are two families, a rich family and a poor family. We can make such judgments as rich or poor based on what things? Based on the dresses people in the family, what they wear, okay, the vehicles they use to travel, the food what they eat, the house they live in, the furniture and the equipment they have, hospitals where they go for the treatment, etc. From these activities only we can judge this family is rich and this family is poor. So alternately, the income of these families earn in an important overall indicators. For the country as a whole, we use the total value of goods and services produced in the country as the indicator of income of the country. Get it? Then the technical term to denote this value is called as GDP, that is gross domestic product. Okay, have a look on this graph and observe and notice that this graph shows the value of GDP for India of two different years, that is 1973 to 1974 and 2013 to 2014. One can compare the kind of increase that has taken place in the production in these three sectors of economy. Okay. After the observation of this graph, now we will discuss how do we estimate the GDP. Okay, people engaged in various economic activities in the above sectors produced a large number of goods and services. That we desire to find out is how many goods and services are produced. With as many as thousands of goods and services being produced, you might think this is an impossible task. No, not only would the task is enormous, you might also wonder how we can add up the total number of cars, computers, mobile phones, services, baskets and pots, etc. It won't make sense. Exactly. To get around this problem, economics suggests that the value of goods and services that should be used rather than in adding up the actual numbers. For example, if 10,000 kilograms of paddy are sold at rupees 25 per kg, then the total value of paddy will be 2,50,000 rupees. Okay. The value of 5,000 coconuts at rupees per coconut, then the total value of coconut will be rupees 50,000. Get it? So, it is necessary to count every good or services that is produced and sold. How do we estimate the total value of goods and services? Now we will discuss. Take for instance that a farmer who sells paddy to a rice miller for rupees 25 per kg. Okay. Then she sells 100 kilograms of paddy. Just assume that she did not have to buy any seeds. The total value of paddy produced by her is rupees 2,500. Okay. Then the rice mill take out rice and sell 80 kilograms of rice to the hotelier for rupees 40 per kg and then 20 kilograms of husk at rupees 20 per kg. Then the total value of good produced by the rice miller is 80 into 40 plus 20 into 20, that is equals to rupees 3,600. This is what the hotelier pays the rice miller, that he make the idli and dosa and husk he used as a fuel. Exactly. Now the hotel owner by using rice and husk makes out rupees 5,000 finally from the sale of idli and dosa. So here the total value of goods sold at each stage has we should add up with them. Okay. So the total value of goods produced we should add them up. Okay. Like this, goods such as paddy, rice and husk, is this an example, are the intermediary stages. They are not being used by the final consumer. Exactly. After all these stages and steps and this procedure, only the final good only consumed by the consumer. So that they are used as inputs to make the final goods, which in this example is idli and dosa. Okay. If one were to add the value of all the physical inputs in between the value of the final goods, we would be double counting. The value of final goods already includes the value of all the between or intermediate goods that are used in making the final good. Getting? Then at each stage, the producer paid for these inputs produced by someone before. Exactly. So that the value of rupees 5,000 worth of hotel items sold by the hotelier, that is final good, has already includes the rupees 3,600, the value of rice and husk used as the physical inputs. Okay. This was not made by the hotel, but only he purchased them from the rice miller. Similarly, the rice and the husk produced by the miller at rupees 3,600 already includes the value of physical inputs, that is paddy, at cost of 2500 rupees purchased by him. Then he did not produce paddy. The farmer produced this in stage first. Okay. To count the value of rice and paddy is separately, meaning counting the value of the same thing a number of times. Getting first as paddy, then as rice, and then as husk, and after finally it is as a final good, that is idli and dosa. Okay. The goods become final if it is not used further in producing goods to be sold. Exactly. In the above example that we have discussed now, that if the rice had been bought by a family for the consumption, this would be the final point, that is idli and dosa. Here idli and dosa would be made by the family for themselves, not as a good to be sold. Getting now? Okay. So, the another way of looking at these stages is to focus only on the value added at every step by the producer of the to find out the value added by the another way of looking at these stages is to focus not only the value. The another way of looking at these stages is to focus only on the value added at the every step by producer of the good, to find out the value added by the producer to the physical inputs purchased by him. Okay. Here it makes sense only to include the value added at each stages, or to take the value of final goods and services. The value of final goods and services produced in each sector during a particular year provides the total production of the sector for that year. Okay. The value of final good and services produced in each sector during a particular year provides the total production of the sector for that year. Okay. And the sum of the production in the three sectors give what is called as the gross domestic product, that is GDP of a country. It is the value of all final goods and services produced within a country during a particular year. Okay. That we have noticed that the GDP figure are given for the year 2013 to 2014. This means the figure are pertaining to April 2013 to March 2014. This period is also called as the financial year. Okay. Here the GDP records the market value of all final goods and services produced, but these are many items that are not sold or purchased in the market. One important example is the work that is done at home, like cooking, cleaning, organizing, bringing up the children, tending to plants and cattle, etc. the things which are more instance these do not involve any monetary transaction and so remain outside the GDP measure, though they are extremely important for the economy also. The unpaid work is done mostly by the women even today also, and obviously in India and across the globe. After the estimate of GDP, now we will discuss the changes in the importance of sectors, that is value of goods and services produced and employment of people. Okay. As we know that so far how the size of GDP has increased over the years as more and more goods and services are produced. It is essential to know how this increase took place and what kind of activities contribute more to this growth of GDP. It has been noted that many of now developed countries had agriculture and other allied activities as the most important contributor of GDP during the initial stages of development. As the method of farming changed and the agriculture sector began to prosper, it produced much more food than before. So, many people could now take up other activities as essential for food requirements were met by other producers. These were increasing a number of craft persons and traders also. Exactly. Buying and selling activities increased many times, further increase the demand for goods and services. But beside this, the rulers employed a large number of people as administrators, armies, etc. At this stage, in an overall context, most of the goods produced were from agriculture and related to sector, and most of the people were also employed in this sector. So, just think and memorize that what we have read about the Industrial Revolution in the earlier classes. As new methods of manufacturing were introduced, factories come up and started expanding. Yes or no? So, through that, those people who had earlier worked on farms now began to work in factories in large numbers. People began to use many more goods. So, there was mass production by factories at much lower rates, and these goods reached the markets all over the world. For these countries, industrial production gradually became the most important sector, both in total production of goods and also in services, and also in the employment of people. Exactly. If there are so much of the goods and services produced for the development, means there is the vacancy and there is a place for employment. So, over a time, a shift took place. Exactly, it will. This means that the importance of sector has changed. The industrial sector became the dominant sector, and the importance of the agriculture sector, both for employment and production, declined. So, we have noticed that in the past 50 years, there has been a further shift from industry to service sector for developed countries. Okay. The service sector has become the most important sector in terms of total production. Most of the working people have also made a shift, and now they are employed in the service sector, and most of the production activities are those of services and not manufactured goods. This is the general pattern observed in the developed countries. So, this is a similar pattern is also observed in India too. Now we will compare the contribution of various activities of GDP has been presented for 2 financial years, that is 1973 to 1974 and 2013 to 2014. The circle of the pie diagram is present the GDP. The circle of this pie diagram presents the GDP in this given year. GDP is made up of production from the 3 sectors, that is agriculture, industry and services. Here, services in turn are seen to be composed of 3 types. Exactly. Look at this pie charts that contribution of various activities of GDP has been presented for 2 financial years, that is 1973 to 1974 and 2013 to 2014. This pie diagrams has represent the GDP in the given year. Okay, GDP is made up of production from the 3 sectors, that is agriculture, industry and services. Here services in turn they are seen to be composed of 3 types, and that is community, social and personal services, then finance, insurance and real estate, then hotel, trade, transport and communication. Okay, in the service sectors, public administration, defense, education, health, media, liberty, archives, museums and other cultural activities will become under the community, social and personal services. So, by this we have completed our these topics. Now we will continue in another class. Thank you.